Baby girl, grown fictional men who have a fandom in a loving show cult, as stated by the Urban Dictionary. This topic was more popular like a few years ago, like back in 2022, but I'm gonna talk about it anyways because I can. So, the Babygirlification of Ghost, a phenomenon which was, as stated, very popular in 2022, but people haven't talked about it in a while, so I wanted to talk about the subject. I was in the fandom at the time, though I didn't really talk about it, and I noticed two main sides to this. One side of the argument was that Ghost couldn't be like that. He was Ghost, tough, scary, mean, just like an impenetrable force not to be reckoned with. A solid brick wall. Many believed, and probably still do believe, that Ghost as a character couldn't show any weakness or humanity whatsoever. Which, you know the type who's on this side of the argument if you have seen any kind of fandom space. The other side of the argument, and the side this video is about, is the Babygirlification side. Essentially, this side believed Ghost to be a lot more sensitive than others made him out to be, with more humanity than people thought. And people don't talk about the humanity part as much when it comes to this, but I do see the humanity when it comes to this. That and fan artists like drawing him all cutesy, and I'm guilty of the same exact thing because it's awesome and I love doing it. The main reason being that this side gives him more character than the other side of the argument. And I love seeing people portray Ghost as Simon. Not Ghost, but Simon Riley, that being his real name. Something that some people tend to forget is that Simon is still a human being. I love seeing him being portrayed as such, even if that means he isn't a brick wall all the time. I mean, come on, just look at that face. You know the one. He is the cutest ever, I think. But I do understand why some people view him in the opposite way, considering he's fairly silent and stoic for the most part. But when he does speak, I absolutely adore it. Sass King. I'd also like to talk about the fanon versions of Ghost and Soap. Something important to point out here before we dive in. I don't ship the two, nor do I ship anyone in the game besides Lastwell and her wife, of course. I love them. But I wanted to clear that up before I started to talk about this, so people didn't get the wrong idea. I solely see the two as friends. I don't really... the ship is not my thing personally, but if you ship it, then that's just fine. I noticed this a lot in social media, namely TikTok, which I have started to post on it again because I finally got it back after 2 months. Certain people have portrayed Ghost as this big stoic man who hates everything and everyone, while portraying Soap as this helpless twink. I'm sure if you've been in any fandom space ever, you know exactly the kind of ship, or even, it doesn't even have to be a ship, even just like a platonic pairing. You know what I'm talking about. Which, honestly, it just isn't true at all. Soap is the complete opposite of that. In fact, he's very intense and he kind of scares me a little. On top of that, people seem to forget that Ghost is sassy as all hell whenever he wants to be.
I'll play those other poor bastards. You ask me, it'd be an improvement.
In fact, he spends a good chunk of his time making puns whenever he does talk.
Why has 2 legs and bleeds?
Don't tell me.
Half a dog.
I asked you not to tell me.
2 goldfish are in a tank.
Go on.
One turns to the other and says, "You know how to drive this thing." Little army humour.
Why not?
Why don't blind guys skydive?
Tell me.
Scares the shit out of their dogs.
King behavior, I love him. Ghost being this shadow, this strong force is all well and good, but there are several examples of his humanity, ones that I quite like. One of the main examples that I noticed, not even being in the main game, but rather the comic about Ghost backstory, which I will sob violently, even if I see a panel of that entire thing, I will sob my eyes out. It's like, it is so depressing. It's not even funny. But I love Ghost as a character, yes, but I adore Simon Riley as a character too. They're two sides of the same coin, but I like when people talk about his humanity. I like when people show that he has humanity, because that's a part of his character. He's not just this, like, shadow or, like, force to be reckoned with. And that goes for all of the Call of Duty characters. They all have some type of character, no matter how you look at it. And I feel like people need to dig deeper into that aspect of these characters having their humanity. And honestly, I just like an excuse to draw Ghost like that because it's very funny. Funny and it's cute. And I just love when people draw him like that in general, and I love when people talk about him being more sensitive and him having more humanity. And, it's just lovely.